Well, hello, welcome to this session on women and proven visibility of women STEM about success stories and sorry, sorry. Okay, now we are starting because I have the YouTube open. Okay, I want to share with you. I'm very happy that we have young ladies, young researchers engaged in this project of improving visibility to do things that can help women to show what they are doing. And I will start by presenting them. This is in the frame, you know, it's the second Latin American MCAA conference that today is the final day, and we have a very nice sessions and a lot of interesting talks and conversations and discussions. And one of the issues that we wanted to put in the agenda to discuss was the theme of women in STEM. So we invite Maria Alejandra Pinto. She's a biologist, graduated from the National University of Colombia, master student in evolutionary biology, organismic, and paleobiology at the University of Bonn in Germany. She's also a member of the Colectivo Mujeres en Ciencia en Colombia. Her research area and interests are the evolutionary biology and evolutionary ecology of amphibians and reptiles. Also, she's interested in gender studies and feminist epistemology in science. The next speaker will be Ana Julia Vélez Rueda. She's a postdoc fellow CONICET at the National University of Quilmes, Argentina. She's a member of Women in Bioinformatics at Data Science Latin America. Her research area and interests are structural interactions between proteins and binding molecules. She develops a bioinformatics tool to predict those properties. Lilian could not make it, but she's from the same institution or society that is Ana Julia, so she will talk in her behalf. And we have also Magda Theodoridou. She's a diploma in civil engineering from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. Have a PhD in science for conservation from the University of Bologna. She's currently using a Marie Curie Polska individual fellowship to work at Cardiff University in UK on self-healing geological materials and structures. She is the present chair of the Marie Curie Alumni Association working group, which is called Genders, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. She will talk about this today, and her research areas interests are related with novel biotechnological process application for sustainable building and smart heritage. So I want to start just to give a small overview. So why we need more visibilization of women in STEM. And for that, I'm going to do or propose an exercise. This is, I actually do it a lot when I did talks to my students or in general public. Maybe here it will be less obvious, but when someone asks other person that is not related with science to picture a scientist in her head or his head for a minute, and then normally they will say that it's a man, a white man with glasses, old and very messy, that he's alone with the tubes and products in the lab, right? This is the image that the people have from science. And well, this normally they will not say it's a woman, not even young women. And this is another exercise. Here it may be very obvious because we are all in a conference related with the Marie Curie alumni. But normally when I show this and ask the public or the students to say which one you know, they always know the men, of course, Einstein, and they don't know the picture, or they don't recognize Marie Curie here in this picture. This is because, and we know that Marie Curie has 2 Nobel Prizes, and she's the only person that has 2 Nobel Prizes in different disciplines. So in terms of importance, I said in Nobel prizes, she is more renowned than Einstein. But of course, Einstein has a more visible impact for the people because it's well known. Okay, so these is 2 exercises are showing us that there's something that is hidden woman from appear better and to have a better knowledge of the general path, right? And this is related with, we know the gender gap. We have 30% of women worldwide. In Latin America, it's a little bit better. We are in higher numbers. For instance, in Argentina, almost 60% of the women that do research are women. And in Tucumán, which is the place, the northwest hills, a little bit province in the northwest of Argentina, we are almost 70%, so it's the other way now. Yes. Nevertheless, this doesn't seem that this doesn't ensure that the women are more visible, even if there are more. Still, they are lagging behind men because prizes, for instance, we have very important prizes in Argentina, which are called Premio Investigador de la Nación, and they are really rare, the women that won this prize. So still, it's not a question of numbers. Even if we get more, the visibility will be even less. Okay, so in comparison of the number. So I think there's something here that is preventing the women to have higher impact. That's why I invited Ana Julia, Magda, and Maria Alejandra to tell us about the initiatives that they have to increase the visibility or to work in this matter to promote women instead. And I would just briefly mention the program that we are carrying out in the institute where I belong, in the Center of Electronic Microscopy in Tucumán, depending on the CONICET and the National University of Tucumán, which is called Ciencia con N. This program was possible with the support of Marie Curie Alumni Association, with the chapter. And at the beginning, for instance, we did activities that consist of inviting only women to give conference, like outreach disclosure talk, because there's a problem that in conference, the keynote speakers are mostly men. So I thought I would do a conference with only women speaking. And this was the first activities we did. And it was very interesting to know that the public have a very nice interest on this. And also the women, of course, they were very glad that they were invited. So these were the first experience. And also we, since for already 4 or 5 years, we are working on the 11th of February, which is the International Day of the Young Girls and Women in Science. So we do activities, for instance, last year, before the pandemic started, we could invite the small girls, young girls, sorry, to work in the lab with us. And we invited other researchers that also use our electronic microscope. This was a very important activity, and we have a big newspaper note, yes. So they were very interested in this activity. We also promote the discussion on these issues that, at least in Tucumán, at that moment were not so much discussed, like, because we were a lot of women in academia, it says that we don't have problems, that we don't get little participation. But then with these discussions that we call EMUCIT, it's the Encuentro de Mujeres Universitarias Científicas de Tucumán, we made it, last year was online, of course, but we also made it in 2019, and the first was in 2018. And the interest grow all over the year, and last year we have almost 300 attendees, and so it was very interesting. And after I started doing this, I could realize that in most of the scientific conference, they start to make at least a round table to discuss this. So I think it was also the context that in Argentina, you know, we have a feminist wave that is working a lot and for women's rights. But I think it is kind of initiative help others to make the same. Like they were like samples or models to continue. Well, we presented the work in Congress that was with reference in Argentina in science and technology. We present this work on the EMUCIT. And what we are doing since this year is a documentary with women in science in Tucumán, but we will continue to do in all Argentina. We show what they are doing, the research, but mostly we want to show what they feel about how their life or their careers went regarding the role of the woman. You know? So this is very interesting. And now I will try to show, if I can, the video, because it will have advances, so a very short presentation that I want to share with you. And this will be presented briefly, maybe in April. So we are going to invite you all to. And as I said, this was all possible due to the support and the interest of the Marie Curie Alumni Association into promoting this kind of activity. And of course, the Marie Curie has a chapter that is working in this, and Magda will tell us about it. So let me see if I can share the video. If you have some questions, you can put it then in Q&A, or you can just okay, maybe I can show you in the end, and I will prepare it, and then we can hear about the next speaker, Ana Julia. If you are ready, you can.
Okay, thank you, Virginia, and thank you for inviting us, for inviting our community. I think that you are now you can see my screen. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, as Virginia said, my name is Ana Julia Vélez Rueda. I'm a co-founder of this community, Women in Bioinformatics and Data Science in Latin America. Um, Actually, I'm representing a whole community. We are a few more women working in the community. We have, for example, Cristina Marino, who is a researcher, a PI from Argentina here in Buenos Aires, but also our co-founder, Lucy Jimenez, the girl with, I have created this community. We met on a cabana workshop in Mexico, and then we decided we started talking about this less representation of women in science, and that we feel in all the trajectory in science a bit alone, you know, and this is a very masculinized, how is it in English? Masculinized, masculinizado,
Mainly.
field. Uh, no, but the word in Spanish, when you are translating words related with gender to English, is quite difficult for us. So sorry about that. But the thing is that these fields are have a very low representation of women. Even when here in Argentina, for example, we are better or a little bit better, we are not in the making decisions positions, you know. We are there is some restrictions into the access of the high levels of the science, you know. Well, so we are the community here. We have Lucy, also Lilian, who is from Brazil, but she couldn't attend today. Ivana, she's working with the data gender perspective observatory. Mercedes and Agustina, that are also from Argentina. Well, um, as I told you, this organization came up from the need that we saw during our careers. We all came from science, but also from industry, and we noticed that we are not few, but we felt very alone, you know. We felt alone, and that's why we started thinking about how many are we, and we decided to create this space to make women more feel more comfortable and secure and empower women, you know. So this is a space that we have created to make sorority came up from or come up from in science and in industry. So we have created this community in 2019 with Lucy, and we have our mission is to visualize the women's research and work, but also empower women by giving some workshops or courses about not only technical but also gender, because we think that we need to change the culture, you know. We need to change the way of thinking in science and in our fields. So we also make some workshops in are what are called soft skills, but I don't like these words. I prefer talking about other skills or knowledge about gender, because we think that we should learn gender perspective like we learn also technical perspectives, you know, or technical tools. So that's what we are doing. We had the past year we had our first conference. It was a very big one. And it was surprising for us because it was the first, but unfortunately with the virtual thing, we had a lot of participants, more than 800 people attended to the meeting. We had 20 speakers or more. They coming from all around the continent, but also around the world. We had some speakers invited from Europe and United States. So it was a very big conference. We had also a gender conversatory. It was very cool. And something that it is interesting from about our meetings and all our activities is that we have this space open to the whole community. We, even when the speakers and the teachers of the workshops are women, this is our activities or our events are open to the whole community, because we are trying to include men or female men to this change, you know, because we need, or we think that we need to be all in the same way, you know. So that's something that maybe could be different from other events talking about this topic. So what we have a lot of communities also supporting us, other communities focus on gender, and also in technology. So it was a very nice experience. And this year we have other projects coming on. For example, we are trying to collect all the information about the scientists, women scientists, also LGTB+ scientists all around Latin America. So we are building this database. So please, if you feel free to fill the form that is linked here, or check our Twitter, and so you can fill the form and be part of this database. Because the big problem is that even when we are not few, we don't know who we are. So the main thing is that maybe, for example, if we want to invite speakers to conferences, well, we don't know who to invite, you know, and we don't know what are they working at. So that's why we decided to create this database. It is not ready, but it will be soon, I hope. Well, we have another space that we have created this year, which is a continuous space of training. You know, we will have during all the year one workshop per month. And of course, it is free and it is open to the whole community, not only women and LGBTQ+. So you feel free to come to our workshops. It will be, as I told you, not only about technical skills, but also gender and other topics. So, well, you are welcome to join us. And in September, we will have our second conference, and we are preparing it. It will be amazing. We have a lot of speakers from all over the continent, almost, because Argentinian this year won't be so represented, but we are happy about that because the past year we were a lot of Argentinians. So we have a lot of speakers from all over the world, also keynotes coming from Europe and the United States. But well, the event is focused on the women work, but all the community is welcome to send posters and to submit their work. So feel free to join us also in September, and we will have some workshops also free and open to the community. So of course, we can't do this without the help of our sponsors. We are looking for new sponsors also. So if you are part of a of a startup or a small industry, well, feel free also to join us and support us, because our objective is not is to go or to get to all the women around the continent. So that's why we are trying to do our events free and open. And so there is no barriers, not only about gender barriers, but also about the accessibility, you know, and so that's why we are trying to keep our events for free. So well, here are our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter. Also, we have a group in Telegram, and well, we are also on Facebook. So join us in our social media so you can be aware of all our activities and the talks and workshops. And well, as this is a phrase that Lucy has collected from other talks that we have gave in other conferences, that our aim is not only making visible the women's work, you know, we are trying to promote sorority, this exchange of knowledge and this support that we think that it is so necessary here in science, which proposes an environment of competitive, you know, or that individualisms that propose to us the science. So we are trying to go in the opposite way. We are trying to tell the other women that we are not a competitor, we are other women that can help, and that you are not alone. So if you are starting your career, you feel free to join us and to meet us, and here you will have a community that will support you. So well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and to meet the other women here that are giving talks today. And thank you, Virginia, for inviting us and giving us this opportunity. It's very nice to share our work with you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ana Julia. Very interesting. It's really a very nice initiative, and we needed it. I think I already signed for the bioinformatics part. Maria Alejandra, do you hear me? Can you present?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Thank you.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So good morning for everyone. I'm really glad to be here with you all, and thank you, Virginia, for this invitation. I'm really glad that we are doing this as Latin Americans. So thanks for this space. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Colombia. So our group, we are a collective, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit about our experience of activism and collective action that we have held in the country. So first of all, we are 5 biologists studying reptiles and amphibians. So I mean, we all have different interests, academic interests, but we all share this love for frogs and snakes and things that most people are afraid of. And yeah, we created the Colectiva Mujeres en la Ciencia Colombia, or in English, Women in Science Colombia Collective. And yeah, I'm gonna first, before like talking about our experiences and what we do, I'm gonna explain you why we decided to create the Women in Science Collective in the first place. So I will just give you some context about Colombia. So as I said, we are biologists, and we live in a biodiverse country, which is very is like a privilege for us. But the thing here is that, as you may know, this country has faced a 50 years of armed conflict, and these have had a huge impact on the society. More than 260,000 people have been killed, and more than 7 million people have been displaced, and around 4 million of women have been victims of this armed conflict. And we signed a peace agreement with one of the guerrilla groups, FARC, back in 2016. And so this peace processes bring kind of a new hope for the country. But the thing here is that this armed conflict has persist, and there are several social problems still present in the country. And regarding the gender equality, well, the women's rights are still being continuously affected by violence, social exclusion, exploitation, and discrimination. So you were wondering, like, maybe if this has had an impact on science. And yes, the scientific community was also affected by this armed conflict. Like, for example, many different regions were occupied by these guerrilla groups. So this was like impossible for some of the Colombian scientists to visit and preserve like these unexplored areas rich of biodiversity. And also during this armed conflict, the resources designated to science were really scarce. And of course, right now, they are also really scarce, even if we are living in a post-conflict age. And yeah, the gender equality will also be affected. So in science, that does not exist. So some statistics for Colombia, I think we all have seen this in every country. And in Colombia, we have the leaky pipeline phenomena, in which, yeah, we have like 50% bachelor students as, that are women. But then when you go up into the academic like path, you will see something like the doctoral students are only 40% of doctoral students are women. But then when you go into researchers, you'll see that 30% of them are women. And so this is like the leaky pipeline that we all observe in almost every country. And also, when you compare this with other Latin American countries, you can see that Colombia is one of the countries with the lowest percentage of women researchers in Latin America. Venezuela, Guatemala, and Argentina are the leading countries. And yeah, also there is a paper which evaluates like temporal projections. And in this paper, Camilo says that it could take between 10 years for humanities and 150 years for engineering to reach gender parity across all research areas. So this is very, very difficult, and this makes the whole problem even bigger. Also in the same paper, he made a comparison with other countries with similar internal war conflicts. And he found that Colombia, it's in the ninth position in 20 countries, and it's 5 points above like the average for these countries regarding the women participation in science. So this could indicate that despite the differential impact that war has on women's rights, internal conflicts is not like the only limiting factor leading to women's underrepresentation in science. And there are also additional factors that we should also be considered, such as the gender-based violence that we all have experienced as women. And in Colombia, it's very prevalent. So between 60% and 70% of Colombian women have experienced some form of violence, whether physical, psychological, sexual, or political. So this is like a very deeply patriarchal structures and patterns of gender-based discrimination. And of course, this turns very aggravated by the reinforcement of masculinities, of violence and conflict. So yeah, going right into the activism experience that we have had as a collective. Yeah, we mainly have done academic events and social media activism, and we have gave some talks. And for example, yesterday, the other women were giving a lecture to a school. So that's mainly our activities in the collective. So the first, in 2018, we launched the first Colombian Symposium of Women in Science, where we had 14 talks, and we try to not only talk about STEM areas, but also humanities, such as social work or anthropology, which we think are very important to understand this situation. And we had a massive attendance, at the symposia, more than 500 people, and a lot of people online. So, and also the coverage of media across the country. So the symposia was very successful for us. And in the same symposia, we led a campaign, like a Metoo scientific campaign, where we were asking women to tell us their experiences in academia regarding violence, gender-based violence. So for example, we said, okay, you can give us a phrase and we will publish this in the social networks. So we had results like, I do not hire women for the doctoral studies because if you yell at them, they start crying. Either you study or you fulfill yourself as a mother. Why don't you have a clean lab? Aren't you the women from this lab? Also, that's why women shouldn't be doing, this is an experience of a woman that got roped, the data was lost. And the lab mate said to her, that's why women shouldn't be doing science. They are always worrying about not getting roped or raped. What a drama. And the other experience is, why teach these girls math if women aren't good at math? So we gather more than 300 or 500, I don't remember, experiences. We post this in the social media, and these publications were really successful. They were shared more than 4,000 times from the page, and a lot of newspapers publish this campaign and talk about this campaign. So we thought that there was very important to women, kind of empowering women to tell their stories and their violence. Also, we wrote a letter to the editor in Science called Empowering Latina Scientists, where we were saying, okay, Latin American women scientists are immersed in a society of where cultural ingrained masculine pride, that we call machismo, is normalized and deeply intertwined with the scientific endeavor. Also, we urge scientists and institutions across Latin America to be aware of the damage that machismo or sexism and its denial inflicts on women and the enterprise of science as a whole, and to be proactive about recognizing, confronting, and penalizing inappropriate behaviors. Also, with the social networks, we have denounced mammals or all-male panels. For example, there was a biologist day in Colombia organized by a Colombian Academy of Sciences, and they invited only men. So we, in our Twitter, would say, okay, are you thinking on organizing a biologist day? So we are gathering the data of women that you can also invite, because of course, this is a biologist day for women and men. So that's how we are dealing with social networks. And I think this is very useful when doing activism. regarding the COVID pandemic, we also have held a roundtable where we invited a lot of Colombian women doing science, because we all know that the COVID-19 exposed some of the problems faced by women in science, like the constant questioning about their leadership and capacity, and the impact, this has an impact, the COVID, on their professional productivity. So we lead at Roundtable. Also in our events and talks and symposia, we also deal with intersectionality as our main concept for inviting women to speak up. And this means that the intersectionality is the phenomenon by which each individual suffers oppression or holds privilege based on their belongings to multiple social categories. So we not only invite like white women to our talks, but also we take into account other types of women, like from other communities, not only from cities, like big cities, also from like smaller cities, or even from Black communities, because this is different. We are not the same, and nothing is neutral, and our daily choices are affected by the social categories that we belong to, right? So finally, further work and other projects that we have. So we're gonna screen the movie Picture a Scientist in April. I think you have heard of it. If not, go see the trailer. And we're gonna hold a roundtable, and we're gonna invite social and natural women scientists to talk about a little bit about the movie, and to talk about a little bit about violences that we have experienced as women in science. Also, we're doing this as almost the same as Anna, like gathering data of Colombian women scientists. So we are just building like a directory with the purpose of compiling information on Colombian women working in the same sciences, and also the Colombian women working in social sciences that focus in gender. And this is our main projects. Of course, there are a lot of them that I'm not gonna address here, but they are like the most important ones. And finally, a little phrase here is that if science is understood as knowledge that generates new ways of thinking, conceiving the world, and understanding reality, we believe it is necessary to keep reflecting on what is the place of women in science and make their contributions visible. Yeah, finally, thank you all. So please contact us if you wanna make some contributions, collaborations with us, or if you just wanna share our tweets that sometimes are a useful way of doing activism in social media. Thank you again for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here with you all.
Thank you very much, Maria Alejandra. Really, really interesting how you're working on this context, how you make this frame. It was very, very enlightening and inspiring. Thank you. So now we will go with Magda. Magda, are you there? No. Oh, okay. Good. You can share?
Yes. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I will try not to do it full screen, because then I don't see anything. And so is that okay for you? Does it work? Is it visible? Hello? Okay. So, hello everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Virginia. That's a very interesting, very empowering session and activity, and I'm really happy to be here with you. I've enjoyed all the presentations. You're doing excellent work. So being here now, I will try to give you an overview of what we are doing, and also some facts from the European Union area that might be useful to share with you, or compare, or anyway help the discussion. So I just wanted to give you a very brief overview of my path, just to actually share with you that my path has been quite challenging and mobile as well. So I'm originally from Greece. I did my undergraduate studies there. Then I left because I got accepted to a Mercury initial training network. So I moved to Italy for my PhD, but I also spent a big part of my time in Hungary for the research activities. Then I worked for quite a few years at the University of Cyprus as a research and teaching fellow. And I moved to the UK in 2018 because I was awarded an individual fellowship. And that is also the time that I was elected for the first time the chair of JEDI working group of MCAA. And in 1 year ago, just before the beginning of the lockdowns and the pandemic, I got my current job, which is at the Newcastle University in the Hub for Biotechnology and Built Environment as a Newcastle University Academic Track Fellow. And just because we're talking about success stories, this is not really, I don't want to present it as a success story, but I just wanted to share with you some of the characteristics of this scheme that Newcastle University launched some years ago, because I think they can be very important for encouraging participation of women. Not only of women, but actually at least to better ensure a fair environment for all. So this is a 5-year research fellowship, but it's also academic track position. So basically it gives you all the freedom to focus on your research and really establish yourself as a research leader and develop your research group. So you don't really have loads of teaching and administrative work, which is very, very usual here in the UK for a young lecturer. But at the same time, it's fully flexible, so it can incorporate job share and less than full-time working. It can be extended to take account of periods of parental and or extended leave and to accommodate part-time working. And additional mentorship and support is offered to those returning to their fellowships from periods of long-term leave, whatever the reason. So that is a sentence I got from the website. So they say, we understand that individuals have different needs and will tailor our support package around this. And I think this is actually the most important message that I would like to share with you, because I know this session is focusing on increasing the visibility of women, but after all, I think what we care about is to ensure that we have a fair work environment for everyone, right? So the reason why women cannot, we haven't achieved gender equality is because we haven't ensured that not special, but individual needs can be addressed and people can be helped in the way that they need to. So a few words about the Genders Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Working Group of the Mercury Alumni Association. It was established in 2014, but it was under a different name. What actually happened since I was elected, since I have been the chair, and that is not a personal work only, it happens with a brilliant team of individuals and active members, is that we actually moved from a specific focus to genders and women, to an overall aim to promote participation in research beyond any individual characteristic. So our activities right now are not only focusing on women. Of course, they account a significant part of our aims and actions, but it brings like more diverse spectrum of to our activities. So what we actually are trying to do is to investigate challenges and develop possible solutions that can boost equity of opportunity at all career stages, as well as a healthier work-life balance. And we also restructured the working group so that now it is divided in task forces. And in general, all these rebranding, let's say, has helped. It has actually helped more people to join as active members, delegate tasks, motivate people to take initiatives, lead their own activity, and also to communicate with each other at a better level. And we have coordinators for each task force. You can see them in the list on this slide. And we have two vice chairs, Nadia and Tanya. So our activities are diverse. They can be empowerment and training, promoting networking and mobility, workshops, seminars, conference sessions, surveys, but we also support research projects. Sometimes we have been invited to support research proposals, and we have also edited role models and books. So here you can see some of our most recent events. For example, here we see the Volvo, Gender, Equity, Diversity, and Mobility in Spanish Research. So that was actually focusing on why researchers return or cannot return to their country, precarious conditions in academia. And it was a very successful event. We also organized last year the first webinar after the lockdown and the pandemic on family planning and whether that competes with leadership in research. I must say that it has been a tough year for everyone, and it was actually, we proved to be quite resilient because we very quickly switched to an online mode for our events, because this event was not planned to happen online. And I can tell that actually the good parts of it was that we made our events more accessible, both for the panel members and speakers, but also for the attendees. So more people were able to join online. And also more family friendly as well. Because imagine that if you have caring responsibilities, it's not very easy to leave your home and travel. And also geographically speaking, we actually reached attendees, or attendees reached us more easily. This is, there is also other events like a campaign against homophobia that we launched last year because of the fact that Pride activities couldn't take place as normal. We organized a workshop, an online workshop again because of COVID, around role models of women in STEM and entrepreneurship. We participated in the Pan-European Hackathon, trying to bring the importance of accessibility to the discussion. So like how we can ensure that the events are accessible to everyone. We also co-authored a statement about Black Lives and of course, Black Lives Matter in research and higher education too. And we had an event on research in the artificial intelligence era, where we also touched the gender equality matters. And last, the most recent activities was our workshop during the MCAA conference this month, which was about integrating gender and inclusivity into research, planning, and communication. We had two of the people that created toolkits on this topic, and we had interactive activities with the attendees during the session. We also participated in the session that was organized by Euroscience about inclusiveness and diversity in the academic workplace culture. And our next event is about researchers at risk, the journey, challenges, and opportunities. And of course, there is a gender matter here, but it's not only the gender. But what we can see, and I would like to share that with you, is that at the end of most of our discussions, one of the most unanimously agreed comments is that it's about research culture changes. That's what we need, and that would help everyone. That's what will help everyone to have fair access to our work community, like the research and innovation community. This event is next week. It's open to everyone. You don't need to be an MCAA member to join the event, and it's free. Please feel free to visit the MCAA platform and register. You need to register so that you can get the Zoom credentials. And we have a very, very interesting panel of speakers, even people that will share the testimonies. And some of our next events as well. The following event is about families and mobility and geographical cultural changes that will have challenges. That will happen on the 15th of April. And we will have Virginia there speaking as well. So again, please stay tuned. We will share the news with you when we have the registration link ready, as well as a Fairness in Artificial Intelligence webinar, problems and solutions that will take place in May, and we haven't defined the exact date yet. What I would like to say is that we are open for new collaborations, and we really want to touch the topic of equity, diversity, inclusion, intersection at an intersectional level, as well as without any geographical borders. And I think that is a very important aspect to actually try to see how the problems as well as the solutions changes from because of geographical and cultural differences. So I have been amazed by what you're doing. Please contact us if you're interested, or you have an idea, or you want to discuss the organization of an activity or an action with us. And how much time do I still have?
Yeah, 5 minutes. I think you can.
Okay. So I just wanted to, well, I had some slides about the European area, as I said, and about gender equality and gender mainstreaming in research, which is one of the priorities. So the objectives are to achieve gender equality in scientific careers at all levels, gender balance in decision-making bodies and positions, and integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation context, including sex and gender analysis. So the European Commission is trying to achieve that at different levels. So from the member states and associated countries to stakeholders, and the European Commission itself, the organization. So some useful actions and sources are the Three Figures report, which is actually released every 3 years. Last issue was in 2018. And that report shows that things are moving in the right direction, but more action is needed, and we need to do it faster if we want to achieve a good gender balance in the near future, and if we want to tackle global challenges, for example, climate change and pollution. On average, women outnumber men at student and graduate levels, but and so there is a broad gender balance at PhD level, but the distribution in the different scientific fields of study is uneven, and there is a persistence of gender stereotypes, and there are some graphs there. You can see here that at university and graduate level, the participation of women and men is quite close, but then from postdoctoral employment to executive level, women are less and less well represented. And here you can see actually that specifically when we speak about STEM, yes, we have a persistence of gender stereotypes at all levels, actually. On the positive side, the European Union is integrating the gender dimension in the content of scientific literature better than the world average. So we have a significantly, so that can significantly increase the quality and reliability of outcomes, as they will reflect the biological characteristics, needs, and attitudes of both men and women. And some useful tools and publications. You can go to the publication office of the European Union and read the report about achievements in Horizon 2020 and recommendations on the way forward. There is also a very useful website. I'm sure you're most probably aware of it. It's called the EIG. It's an institution on gender equality, and there are very useful toolkits there, like, for example, the gender sensitive communication toolkit, the GEAR tool, which is about gender equality in academia and research, and this provides the institutions, actually, universities and research organizations, practical advice and tools through all stages of institutional change, from setting up a gender equality plan to evaluating its real impact. There is a gender equality training toolkit, because it has been proven actually that it can create efficient actions and positive change. And another interesting report is actually on COVID-19 and the impact on researchers by Smart and Vitae. It is actually interesting to read if we talk about gender equality, because there are some results there and statistics that prove that this period has been much more challenging for people and with caring responsibilities, and women in particular. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Magda. Very nice and impressive of the work, and that you are more institutionalized really facing different challenges. Thank you very much. I'm sure we can find a way to collaborate and do more things together. This is a very nice beginning, I would say. Okay, maybe if we have we don't have questions yet, but I will try to show you the video that I told you about our project. Hope it works. And then you can put, you see it there?
We cannot hear Virginia. We can only see.
Sorry?
We cannot hear the sound.
Ah, no sound. Yeah, this always happens. Okay, I will share it by email. I will send it. I will put it in YouTube and send it. But well, it's this project that is called Ciencia con M, and now we are doing this documentary. So I wanted to share with you. Sorry about that. Okay, we have. So Emily says, first of all, congratulations on your works, all are great. Is there a woman scientist society in Latin America or in the world where we can register for following news, make networking and help maybe. Well, in Argentina, this is the Red Argentina Racid, and they are connected with the international network. Maybe I will look for also the link. Ana Julia is sharing this. Maybe Maria Alejandra, you know, Magda, something more general.
Yeah, in Colombia we have, I mean, we don't have a directory or something like to know how many women in science are we, but we are dealing with that. Actually, there is another huge group who's working with that. It's called the Red Colombiana de Mujeres Científicas, but still, I think there is like a huge gap here in Latin America. Like it's difficult to connect us between countries and working groups. Actually, this is the first time I'm in a Latin American meeting discussing this problem. So yeah, you address very well the problem here. There's another webpage called 500 Women Scientists. I think it's from United States. But they are gathering data from Latin America, so maybe we should take a look on that. I will put the link here so you can know about their work. Oh no.
Yeah, and also there is this. There are different initiatives like 1 million women in science. So this you can find that look for profiles of women and make these campaigns showing what they are doing. And there are several of these kind. In Twitter, you can find a lot. Then I would say the UNESCO Cátedra, the Cátedra for Women in Research Science in the UNESCO. It's also a big that making networking, training, conferences. You can also look. I will put the address also here. Let's see if there is another question. No, in the chat, maybe. Okay.
Sorry, Virginia. I was about to say that that's why the girls or the women from Colombia and we are trying to collect all the information, because there is a lack of data about women and LGTBIQ+, you know, people working in science and STEM in general. So that's why we are collecting data, and that's why it's so important to know who we are, you know. So please contact us and share your information. It's not personal information, but about your work. What are you doing? And so we can meet, because that's why this kind of events or roundtables are so important, because we still don't know who we are. There are a lot of differences between or within countries, and that's why also it's so hard to collect the data. For example, here in Argentina we have the CONICET, which is the main council institution about science, you know. But the thing is that there are many people working in science outside CONICET, and also it's the same in Mexico with CONACYT, and we don't have any way to collect or all the data from Colombia or Brazil. So that's why we we are asking to help us to collect the data, even in our initiative, or also with the girls from Colombia. I think that we will meet and we will join our efforts, but that's why maybe the best thing is to follow us in our social media and to contact us and share your information, your work with us, so we can make it visible. So that's something that I wanted to say. Sorry.
Okay, I want to put a question for you. What about when we do these things? It's like at the beginning, it's like we feel, at least from my experience, a resistance, like for from women and from men, because from women they used to say, no, I didn't have any problem. I just work and then I succeed. So you just, if you want, you will get to the point that you want, and you will have a good career if you effort. Okay, so this is from the woman. Okay, and then they are reluctant to go and talk about this in a conference. And for the men's side, it's like also sometimes they say, but why you are doing this? You don't need it. Or for instance, for when someone says that we need positive discrimination, for instance, if you have two very well qualified women and men, you will give the woman the scholarship. So we're very tense there. So I want to ask you, how did you feel these situations, and how did you face it and respond, or maybe your experience?
Well, I don't know if I can start, but I think that also Alejandra has something to say about this. But coming from science, there is like, yeah, there is some resistance. It's a common thought that if we are organizing this kind of conferences in which we talk also about this problematic, this conference won't be technical enough, or it won't be, you know, it won't have the enough knowledge about science, you know. But I think that this resistance comes from the ignorance, you know, and something that comes from being afraid, from something that we were told not to say, you know. So I think it is very important to start to put into words the things that we all live all day, during all career or our career. What we are trying, that's why we try to organize also some talks and workshops about gender perspective. That's why we are trying to put in words the machismo that we feel and we live with. And I think that, yeah, there is a resistance, but we are starting to break this silence, and that's why this kind of initiatives are so important. We need to talk about this, and it won't make science less scientific, you know. It just will make science more equal. So yeah, there is, but we need to keep on working, because if not, there are a lot of voices that are being silenced, and well, that it's a perspective that we need, you know.
Also, I will add to what Ana Julia says that I think for so many years, violence against women and inequality has been kept like as a private issue, something that you discuss inside your house, or that your struggles with your family, or you discuss with your lab mates or something. So doing this in a public way, it's kind of a huge feminist movement for us. And I think that's that's why we always will receive a lot of hate as well, but support. I mean, it's not only like in this whole experience that we have had as a collective, we only experience violence. No, I think we have met a lot of amazing women and a lot of amazing women from Latin America, from other countries working with this, and this is why I think this fight words. Also regarding men, it's kind of difficult like to approach them in this kind of issues, because I think most women understand what is going on, but with men sometimes it's difficult. And we have experienced, for example, violence in the social media. There was a guy saying like, we were discussing that we enjoy working with reptiles and amphibians, and there was a guy saying, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that women can enjoy studying frogs. Like, no, women enjoys that. Women prefer to be prostitutes, and women prefer to be like in this online fans platform. And yeah, because for society there is like a whore saint or whore virgin dichotomy, where always you are or a whore or either a virgin, or I don't know, like people cannot think that women can be interested in other things than I don't know, cooking or prostitution, as this guy said. So we have received a lot of violence, of course, but I think that this fight works because because of the women that we have met in our experience in Colombia and in other countries.
Yeah, because of sorority, I think, because this is a powerful tool that we have, not seeing each other like competitors, but we are all together in this fight, and we can, there is a space for all of us. So we don't have to discuss or fight or whatever. We just can join and make it work for all of us. So I think that what Alejandra says is that what we feel sorority, and that you are not alone and we are not alone. That's why we are trying to raise out and speak loud.
Okay. So my just few words would be that I have seen a change. I have changed countries. They are all in Europe, but they're quite different. So when I started dealing with this working group, when I got the invitation from the founder, do you want to be one of the founding members? I remember I discussed it with one of my colleagues, and the opinion was that, yeah, it's good if you're interested in these social aspects, but don't get distracted from your real research field and activities. And I understand. I mean, it was a very, it was not bad felt comment. It was really like a realistic comment at that time, coming from my advisor. And I can tell that it was coming from a person very sensitive on this topic. So, but what I have seen now is that, for example, for my current position, I should define the EDI aspect, the equity, diversity, and inclusion aspect, and my thoughts and how I want to integrate this into my. And that was not for me because I'm active in this field. It was for everyone that applied, and this is actually happening more and more with the UK funding bodies, but also the European Commission. So that is a positive change. And something else that I wanted to comment is that actually it is a good step to start involving men. They should feel not they should, but it's like they are allies. And it's important not to keep this as a women fight or as a women thing, because it makes more sense if it is important for everyone. And we haven't managed to have more men members in the JEDI working group, not even half of them, but we have achieved that 25%, which is good. Yeah, I think that is something that it's very important when someone is very, very important to communicate and educate in a way the others that this is not a women thing. This is something that everyone should care about.
Thank you very much.
Can I add something?
Yes.
There is an article in the Guardian wrote by Belinda Palmer called "Why I Won't Speak at Women-Only Events." And in this article, she was saying that she was invited to give a talk about women in technology, and when she was going to speak, like half of the room got emptied. Like everyone thought this is a women issue, so just gonna leave. And she got surprised. She says like, she said something like, this is not a women problem, as you were saying, Magdalene, it's a society problem. So why these people is leaving the room? And so that's why she was saying, I won't speak at women only events. I want to be with other with men and discussing these issues. So yeah, I just thought it was a interesting point of view here.
Yeah, actually, I strongly recommend you another woman. She's an anthropologist from Argentina. She's called Rita Segato, and she talks a lot about this. That this problem is something that also is affecting the men, because they are supposed to be in a way that they are supposed to be, so I think that that's why we aim to make our events and all the activities open to the whole community. I think that what Magdalene said is very important, because it is a very, very important issue that we have to solve, not in science, but in the whole community, It's a big problem, a bigger problem.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for your inputs. If there are no further questions, we are closing the session. So it was very interesting. Actually, we only have women in the, as you said, but Alejandro, which is the chair of the Chilean chapter, but I see him as local, maybe, but all of them are women. So I think we need to put also the women meetings are for some purposes, objectives, to know each other, to put in agenda, to discuss it. But of course, we have to put these things in international meetings, in meetings of our specialty, that is not only considered a problem of women, because research losing the woman is research losing diversity, losing different minds to think. Is not they are losing women, they are losing a lot of opportunities to do a better science. So I think this, with this, I once more thank you. We will be in touch. Yes, here's a question. I would like to ask if there is some MSc initiative regarding people with disabilities and their inclusion in science. I think Magda, your chapter is taking.
Yes, we are quite active actually. We have we have also the researchability project started within the MCAA, but it has now become a part of JEDI. And there is Alexandra Notnagel who is leading this. It's about researchers with disabilities. So yes, we are organizing sessions on this. One of our upcoming events is about this. And what we are doing as well is that our next events, like the one next week and the one about families and the one after, we have secured accessibility services, so they will be subtitled. I don't know what type of information our friend wants, but please get in touch with us or follow us on Twitter if you want to get information about our activities and events on this.
Okay. Thank you, Magda. Thank you, Ana Julia, Maria Alejandra. Very, very, very happy to share with you all this feeling, all this adventure and initiative. So I hope we can meet again and do things together more often. Okay, and thank you all the attendees that were till the end. The link, the YouTube link will be left so you can share it to your communities. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Very much, Virginia. Nice
Thank
to
you.
Thank you. Nice
I will take a picture. Wait a little bit. Okay, and now bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.